sure. Also know her from various TV shows, movies, off-Broadway, and she has a solo EP that just came out in February, Bluebird. Jasmine, very nice to meet you. Thanks for being on the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You were great in this show. You played two vastly different roles in this show, from Peggy, who's kind of shy and cute, to the seductress of Maria. I just, as an actress, was it fun 8 nights a week getting to be two distinctly different characters?
Oh yeah. It was really, really my point to like make those characters very, very different. And a lot of the times people didn't know that it was me that played both of them. And I was like, that's a compliment, man. I did my job, like right. If you can't figure out that it's me playing both of them, then I did it right. Yeah, I think it's so much fun. They're so different. I get to the whole first act, have fun, play with my sisters. My goal really was to just show the love between these women and the support that they have, with each other. And just kind of laugh with everybody on stage. And, in the second act, I got to sing an R&B song every night and belt and wear a beautiful, red dress and be all dramatic. It was so much fun,
Was there one more fun than the other that you looked forward to nightly, or did it depend?
I think, nah, they're both great. I mean, what I love about Mariah Reynolds is that I just really get to sing, and I really get to belt and, kind of sing a full song. So I always looked forward, to that. And, but with Peggy, it's so much fun starting the show with Renee and Pippa and, coming in hot and coming in just with so much energy. And before we went on stage, every night we would give each other hugs and we would do dances just to rev us up. We've introduced all of these men for 4 numbers, and now we're going to introduce the women. So we're we gotta come in on point. You know what I mean? Right. So
all three of you were great. I mean, and your voices were fabulous. You guys come on, the three of you, and it changes the energy of the show. Obviously, it's 3 strong women, but also all three of you and the 2 women who play your sisters. Your voices are just fabulous. It's wow, this is great stuff. Was that enjoyable? I mean, did you guys? It looked like you really got along. Even on social media, I saw pictures of you guys hanging out and chilling together. Yeah. So you really are friends.
Oh my God, it's kind of crazy how well we got along. It was almost like it was really meant to be. And also, we shared a dressing room off Broadway at the Public Theater for 6 months, and we all just really got to know each other. And, we cried together, we laughed together, we made up harmonies together. We went through a lot together, the 3 of us, and the love just grew and grew and grew. And then when we went to Broadway, we shared this kind of suite. So we were all next to each other, even though we didn't share a dressing room anymore. The 3 of us were right by each other in this we call it kind of like the Schuyler Sisters suite.
Nice.
So we were constantly by each other getting ready all the time. And, that love that we have off stage, it showed on stage.
It definitely did.
Renee and I, we were talking and we were one of the things we were worried about, we were we just hope that the film captures the love that we all have for each other. And I really think it does. You really can clearly see that we all love each other and we're close,
And you mentioned off Broadway. Also, you mentioned sharing a dressing room. And I think people have an idea. They don't know theater. Even if you're on off Broadway, you have your own dressing room and maybe a dress, your own ballet or, a suite of things. In reality, off Broadway, and sometimes even Broadway, the actors will share a dressing room. But what about the creative? How much did it change from off Broadway? I think it began 2015 off Broadway, and then it comes to Broadway, becomes a smash hit. did it change much in terms of the dialogue or the songs?
It didn't change drastically, but what Lynn did was like a lot of minor changes. He did cut out a full song called Adam's Administration.
Oh.
But for instance, like at the Public off Broadway, Renee, Pippa, and I, we would always make up harmonies and stuff. And he loved it so much that when we went to Broadway, he added all of these harmonies for Schuyler Sisters. So you know how we're like, what?
Yeah.
Like all of that, he added that because of like the harmonies that we did, and like little harmonies in between lines and things like that to kind of like beef up the song. And he did it because we shared a dressing room and because we were always singing and doing harmonies together. I remember like during previews, he added a faster rep for David in Guns and Ships when he played Lafayette. And he did that like last minute, and David killed it that night. And I was like, oh my God, this cast is crazy. I remember when he rewrote it was called One Last Ride at the Public, and he changed it to One Last Time. And he added like these lines of when George Washington talks about the fig tree. It's just so beautiful. Like he made minor changes, but they were awesome. They really were. So
you're doing this off Broadway first for 6 months. And obviously, it goes on to make history. 11 Tony Awards. It's on Disney Plus now. It's going to be a movie and everything. Did you get a sense in off Broadway like, hey, this is really good, and maybe it'll move on? Or did you get a sense like this is really special? This could really be something that is transformative, as it really is, to Broadway and the way I think a lot of people look at Broadway theater.
Well, when I first heard the demos, like when I first got the job, I was like, I've never in my life have heard anything like this. And being in rehearsal, seeing this cast and working through everything, I was constantly blown away, like from the beginning. I think when it really, really hit me was when the cast album came out on Broadway. And the next day, the way that it was like everybody was able to get a taste of the musical. That wasn't, they got to listen to the soundtrack. So now it's spread even wider. And when that soundtrack came out, that was like a game changer, because that's when I think the show rolled over into pop culture in a way that theater has never done before. And I was like, whoa, this is way more than a musical. This is about to be like part of history and change the course of musical theater and how people approach it.
I think I recall it being like on iTunes, like one of the top ones. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had not seen it. And so I got some of the songs. Everyone's talking about Hamilton. I'm like, wow, these songs are great. So I got, like everyone else, got the album.
Billboard chart at one time.
Oh, it did?
On a hip hop. Yeah. I was like, this is crazy.
That is. So what was the songs are great. The way Lynn makes American history accessible and exciting for people. But also, the play looked like America more than the Founding Fathers looked like America. The Founding Fathers looked like America at the time. It was white people in power, and the only black people here were generally slaves. Then things have flipped, where this play represents so much of what America looks like, or the browning of this country. Was that, when you were first in the play, was that something that was significant to you? Did you get like, wow, this representation is really great? Or did you think, wow, that's an interesting choice for casting?
Oh, yeah. I mean, immediately, you're looking around the room and you're just seeing all of these different colors, that's on purpose. There's, yes, the show is about Founding Fathers, but there's so many other bullet points of what the show is about. The show is about that you can be an immigrant, you can come from anywhere in the world, and still have a voice and make a change. that's what this is about. And I think during this climate, in the world that we live in right now, I hope that this film inspires people to use their voice. I hope it inspires people to vote. I hope it inspires people to get their friends together, start a revolution, use your art, like no matter who you are, where you come from, how old you are, your voice is valid and we need your voice. And that's what it's about,
I think on some level, America is clearly moving forward. Like we have these stops, pulls back and forward, but America's moving forward. And that the play Hamilton, I think, represented that the changing of America right there. And then you have people, today they're painting Black Lives Matter on Fifth Avenue, right in front of Trump Tower, not just because of Trump Tower, to make a statement about the movement. Years ago, no one would have thought of doing that. I'm sure it would have been like, what's going on? So we're moving forward. Are you hopeful that all the young people, because if you look at the people on the streets who are protesting it for Black Lives Matter and fighting for the idea that we value Black lives the same as white in this country, which we've never done, but we're getting there, I hope, in time, that it almost represents like what was in the street was what was on your stage, like this diversity of younger people. It wasn't the founding fathers. It was what America looks like today. And I think on some level, it scares, not even politics. I think it just scares some people, this changing of this country.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Change is always scary for people, especially people who don't want to grow,
Right.
but we have to, it's inevitable, and like Black people have been talking about this in their songs for years, and I'm glad it had to take a pandemic for people to wake up and for people to start to pay attention and understand, but it is happening, and that's a beautiful thing. And a lot of young people, I think with social media, and I was talking about this the other day with my friends, of how the internet, you have all people, all ages now that are on the internet and are seeing things and are seeing videos and are seeing kind of like the movement in a different way and is able to open their phone and start seeing the movement immediately, so I'm hopeful. I feel like people have had enough, and I feel people are now starting to listen. It sucks that it's taken this long, but it is happening, and it's happening before a big election. And it's happening within a pandemic, but it's happening. And I think, when people have had enough, they've had enough, and the people are going to speak. And I think people are now also having the conversations of like, you got to change something within yourself too, if you want to change the world. And I think a lot of people are forced to look at themselves just in this pandemic. They're forced to like look at themselves in the mirror, regardless of Black Lives Matter, just of everything that's going on. And now, people are protesting and people are sick of it. So they've also got to look at themselves again of what can I do? How can I be an ally? How can I help? And what do I have to change within myself to, when I have conversations with people, to inform them and to be an ally and to help with the revolution, to help with the protests, to help, make this world a better place.
Isn't it? You're younger. I think you're about 30. It's the younger generation, your age and actually younger too, in the streets leading this charge. Does that give you more hope about the future of this country, as opposed to some of the older people in power tend to be conservative, who literally Donald Trump called Black Lives Matter a symbol of hate 2 weeks ago. It's despicable. Yeah. But does it give you inspiration that you see these young people who are not just like, I'm just going to be on Instagram and I'm not going to care about anything? They care so much. They risk their lives for George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and all those who came before them. They went in the streets. to bring attention to this. I'm older. I found it moving. I'm interested. You're 30. What did you see when you saw the people on the streets? What did it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it gives me hope. It gives me hope that, you know, even these kids, like, they'd rather go out and protest than watch a Netflix show. You know what I mean?
Right.
And start a hashtag. You know, that's huge. You know, and to have something, hopefully, you know, if Black Lives Matter is trending, it can go far beyond just a trend. And I think the youth are starting to understand that it's not just a trend. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just a post anymore.
Right.
It's more than that. We need to be more involved now. And, you know, children are the future, you know, so if it gets to the youth first, I
Game
mean,
changer.
that means everything.
And I'm chatting with Jasmine Cephas Jones. Your dad, Ron, is a great actor, Emmy award-winning actor. If people don't know his name, they might know him from This Is Us. They don't know his name. They see his picture. They're like, I know that guy. How much did your dad influence you in your career, first your choice of career, and then staying with it and making this actually your career, not just something you dabbled in when you were younger?
Well, my dad is also a big, huge theater actor. And I grew up in the theater. And I grew up in this theater company called Labyrinth Theater Company, where Philip Seymour Hoffman was artistic director at the time. And he directed a couple of plays that my dad was in, Jesus Hopped the A Train, Our Lady of 121st Street, all written by Stephen Adly Guirgis. And I was around like that black box New York City downtown theater that my eyes were open to, like at a very, very young age. And I kind of saw like all of these, like, you know, really fierce New York City actors, you know, putting their heart and soul on these stages every night. And I was there all the time. I was doing my homework backstage. I was chilling with the lighting guy. I was with the costumes. I was with like the girls in their dressing room backstage. Like, I was everywhere. And watching that really influenced me. But also, I knew I had to train and I had to be serious about what I wanted to do. So I also knew that, like, you know, being an artist in New York, it's a struggle. And I knew how hard it was. And I saw my dad struggle a lot. And so I knew the reality of it as well. So it wasn't until like very later, like really high school and kind of college, where I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, you know? But my dad has mentored me my whole entire life, has always helped me out, like with Shakespeare and like helping me analyze my script and the importance of like character development. I've learned a lot from him. He's the GOAT.
He's a great actor. And again, if people, if they see This Is Us or other shows, but your dad, Ron, if they just Google him, they're going to be like, oh, I know that guy. He's a great actor. He's a great character actor. And when you mention how hard it is to be in the acting, which I think is the hardest rung of this business, to be honest, is that like my fiance is an actress. She just had done a great play at the Arena Stage in DC. She had the lead, great reviews. It closes in March. That's when it closed. Things are going to go great. Pandemic, everything closes. And then, you know, out of work again. And there's not even auditions much going on. That's her life. You'll have one good thing in a year and people don't get it. You see the big celebrities and you think that's this world. You've got to love this business so much. You have to love the craft so much, so deeply, the creative part of it, because the struggle that surrounds that is so often it could be soul crushing if you don't have a commitment to. It's not about wanting to be famous. That could be a part of it, but it's about wanting to go on stage, to do the craft, to be an actor, to be in a movie or TV show. And I don't think people see that. They don't get that. And you saw it firsthand as a kid growing up. You saw your dad and the struggles he went through, and still, yet you chose that. You're like, yeah, I want to do this. And that's remarkable. So no, it's hard. And before I let you go, you had a solo EP, Bluebird, that came out in February. I saw the song on Little Bird. It's a beautiful song. Are you going to do more? It's like, is a big part of it. You're an actress, obviously, but do you want to even do more singing, putting out more albums going forward?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna work on my album this year for sure. That project was a really, really special project, and so many people were saying like, do you have any music? Do you have any music? And I'm like, I'm not a songwriter, blah blah blah. And I started writing, and I was like, oh, I am a songwriter. I am a yeah.
Right.
And that project was completely me, and really I wrote from a very like vulnerable and honest place. And a lot of people have reached out to me and said that this EP has really helped them through this pandemic. And that was like my goal for this EP. And, I'm really, really proud of it.
It's great. And people can see it on YouTube or go buy it on iTunes. Little Bird. Last thing, what's from the play Hamilton, not counting the songs you sing, what's your favorite song in the show?
Probably Wait for It.
Really?
Yeah. The way that Leslie sings that song is absolutely beautiful. And just kind of like the honesty and like the vulnerability that he has in that moment to himself while he's on there. And, it's great because we're all on stage. We surround him while he sings it. So all of us just kind of sit and get to like watch him do his thing and sing the crap out of that song. So it's a great show. Again, Hamilton is now on Disney Plus. I think the whole country knows that, but check it out there. Jasmine, it was great meeting you. Great chatting with you. I wish you the best with your career. Hopefully talk to you in the future when you have other projects coming up. Thank you so much.